¿Me acuerdo qué?
Sí.
Alright guys, can we get the attention to the presenters please? We're gonna start. Okay. Good afternoon to all of you. I want to thank you for being here, and we're going to present our project, which is called Changing the World One Flower at a Time. First, we're going to tell you a little bit about ourselves, who started this project in September, but we had the plans before that, so we're going to show you the evolution of it. But first, about us. So this is me. My name is Flavia Rodas. I am 17 years old. I am currently a junior at SECS. I play golf, and I am very excited to be part of this project.
My name is Sofia Minor. I was born in California and raised in Santa Cruz, Bolivia. I'm 17 and I'm a junior at SECS.
So this is me. I'm Juliana Salvatierra. I was born and raised in Santa Cruz, and I'm currently a junior at SECS. I'm 16 years old and I enjoy working out.
My name is Diana Largon. I'm 17 years old and I live in Santa Cruz, Bolivia. I'm currently a junior at SECS. And
my name is Esteban Suarez. I'm 16 years old. I love to play soccer and I'm a junior at SECS.
My name is Viviana Castañeda and I was born and raised in Santa Cruz, Bolivia. I'm also 17 years old and a junior, and I'm very passionate about this project.
So I'm Raul Valle. I'm 17. I'm a kind of older, but 17. I'm a junior also at SECS. My passion are horses. I play polo. I do everything with horses. And
my name is Thomas Ward. I'm a senior at SCS, and I like to play soccer.
So I would like you to raise your hand if you've experienced the following. So please raise your hand if you, once in your lifetime, you've experienced a headache. Now, lower your hands. If you've experienced fatigue, nausea, if you've experienced skin or eye irritation, if you've experienced If you've experienced joint pain, like when your knees hurt or when muscles hurt. Well, I would like to tell you that all of those symptoms are symptoms of mosquito-transmitted diseases. Mosquito-transmitted diseases are like dengue, chikungunya, Zika, and if you've experienced one of those are just some of the symptoms that contribute to the diseases which are transmitted by mosquitoes.
Okay, now how many of you have gone to the doctor when you experience one of those symptoms? Please raise your hands. So the majority of you have gone, so now I would ask you to raise your hands if you completely trust the natural resources instead of medical resources. Yeah, I expected it. So throughout our presentation, I'd like you to think on, will that change with what you're about to present?
The reason why we decided to do this project is because we have observed that people in our country have very different sorts of resources. There is a very vast difference between the higher class and the lower class, which means the amount of resources that are put into effort to create a medical community are pretty low. The fact that we planted the Crotalaria musea, which is the flower, around the entire community means that everyone will have access to the benefits of the flower, not just the upper class. And by doing so, the diseases become less likely to spread since they spread in rural areas, and the plant is for everyone, not just for the upper class. We hope that the project would transcend socioeconomic statuses and contribute to a large part of our community by doing so. Millions of people in the world contract mosquito-related diseases annually. So as you can see, this is a very high rate. So it's a theme that touches everyone.
These are statistics that show the epidemic spread of the three higher diseases that we see in Bolivia, which are dengue, chikungunya, and Zika. Zika is still not, there's not too many cases, but the ones who have more problems are dengue and chikungunya, which are really high numbers of cases in the country. And that's basically for South America. There's a lot in Brazil, basically most countries in South America are being affected by these diseases.
Symptoms dengue, chikungunya, and Zika have are muscle pain, loss of appetite, fevers. But the differences in Zika, in chikungunya and dengue, is that you have back pain and red eyes and rashes. Dengue, its highest peak in Santa Cruz was in 2011. Its rate was 49%, and all those cases turned out to be positive. And in 2012, 17,843 people presented dengue-related symptoms, and almost 250 people died, mostly which came from poorer people. Chikungunya, it started out in 2015 with 3,500 cases. Most people affected, as you mentioned, lived in rural areas, and that means that they didn't have access to all the medical attention that upper class people have, and 50 people died in Santa Cruz. Zika, it started out in 2016 with 1,600 cases nationally. 787 people in Santa Cruz only, and 72 people died in the whole nation.
The yellow fever, it's a much older disease. It started in Africa. It's more from subtropical areas. And over 3,600 cases of yellow fever have been detected in Bolivia in the past 20 years.
This is a demonstration of how the Aedes aegypti bites you. And
the big difference of this mosquito is you can notice the white stripes. That's how you know.
Okay, just watch.
Okay, so the previous video that we showed you was basically the mosquito species that is the one that transmits the mosquito-related diseases. That was Aedes aegypti. It's the main vector that transmit viruses that cause dengue, along with chikungunya and Zika. And as you know, humans are passed this virus by the bite of an infected female. The female mosquito is the one which basically transmits the disease. It's because the female mosquito bites a human because it needs the nutrients our blood contains in order to deposit our eggs and produce more mosquitoes and keep on the generations. And the mosquito will acquire the disease if the mosquito bites a person that is infected or tends to be infected. And many of you, when you saw the picture or the video of the Aedes aegypti, have noticed the white stripes or white dots they have. And for the past years, we have seen the picture of that mosquito. It's gone viral because of you remember the dengue catastrophe that happened about years ago, and people were placing images and to show awareness of this mosquito. So that's why most of us recognize it. So over 1 million deaths are caused by mosquitoes annually. This is a picture, a close-up of the Aedes aegypti. And impressively, it's people rather than mosquitoes that transfer the disease by community to another community. Because studies have shown that Aedes aegypti, the mosquito, during its lifetime, it has a flight range of about 400 meters. And if you think about that, 400 meters, it's not much. So it's rather people than the mosquito that transmit the disease. And preferably, Aedes aegypti prefer to spread during the day. And they prefer it during the morning because if it's the afternoon, it's too hot and it's too humid too. So they prefer during the morning. They can strike at any time of the day, but they usually do it during the day. So besides, in order to decrease the mosquito population, we have a natural alternatives. So one of these, the most common, is insecticide. And while controlling Aedes aegypti is extremely difficult with this method because pesticide, mosquitoes have managed to create a sort of resistance to pesticide. And that's what keeps pesticide from being sort of inefficient to this alternative. And they have control methods have become ineffective because insecticides, the resistance that mosquitoes have acquired to insecticide has been passed on to future generations, and it's passed on from a mother mosquito to its offspring. So that is practically inferring that insecticide will no longer be effective. So there are lots of cons that insecticide has. So insecticide is greatly harmful to the environment. Therefore, it has been banned by governments. It's not safe to use, and it's also unsafe for your health.
Pesticides, as we all know, are linked to human health hazards. They go from causing headaches and nausea to chronic impacts like cancer, reproductive harm, and endocrine disruption. They cause skin and eye irritation, dizziness, fatigue, nausea, and headaches, as stated before.
So the mosquito-transmitted diseases have chronic and long-term effects. So you might not get the diseases right now, but after a period of years, you'll start to feel it in your body. So the exposure of pesticides are present in the environment, and they can erode through the water, and eventually you'll be getting them in your body. And these symptoms are not prevalent right now, but you can show them off afterwards. So, and also the use of pesticides for killing this mosquito have been linked to various forms of cancer.
Once pesticides are inserted in a plant or in agricultural land, they automatically spread everywhere, but they are mostly found in water systems and in the air, but they pollute the air. Many farmers suggest to use pesticides because it's a way that makes them earn money. But what they don't tell the buyer is that they actually damage the land because it harms the insect species that actually can eat the insects. But
So pesticides are also known to reduce concentrations of essential nutrients that soil has in order for plants to grow properly. For example, one of those could be phosphorus. And pesticides wear out the soil. They also are known to kill other insects or other species that actually help the environment. For example, worms, dragonflies. They can also kill many other species that help the plants to grow. And so as you can see, pesticide has this sort of negative effect, and that's what we're trying to take out by introducing this flower.
Our project is based on the studies done by 2 universities in Brazil. The Department of Agroeconomy in Alagoas Federal University showed how the Aedes aegypti, the mosquito that transmits dengue, Zika, and chikungunya, and the yellow fever, the population is significantly smaller in places where the Crotalaria ginsea is present. The studies of 2005 at the Campinas State University show how the specific growth conditions have led the Crotalaria ginsea to develop specific toxins from its petals.
So about the flower, the common name used is sunhemp. It's a bushy flower, it can get pretty tall, up to 4 meters, like the plant. It grows deep yellow flowers, and the pods contains heart-shaped seeds. You're going to see forward. So the seeds, you can get 18,000 to 35,000 seeds per kilograms. It's considered to be generated in India, where it has been cultivated since many prehistoric times. Here's the heart shape, that's what they call it. It's a pretty resistant plant. It's drought resistant, adapted to hot climates. It can tolerate frost also. So its soil can grow, it doesn't leach too much. 4x4.
So this is how the flower works. And assuming that it has the appropriate growth conditions, the Crotalaria ginsea will develop specific scent that attracts dragonflies. This scent is rich in mineral N. The dragonfly larva will feed on the mosquito larva, thus diminishing the number of the Aedes aegypti in that place.
So basically what happens when they try to raise awareness, they put posters, they don't leave buckets of water outside or stuff like that. Sometimes you don't know where the water is, or you can always be there and taking the water away. So what happens, the dragonflies, they put the eggs in the same place the mosquito placed the eggs. And the larvae of the dragonflies feed on the larvae of the mosquitoes, and that's how they control the population of the mosquitoes.
so now putting all this information together, our project started back on September 2015, where we planted 25 Crotalarias in our own backyards. And it may seem a long time, but it actually took that long to grow. And our goal was to collect the seeds that were obtained in the heart chicks that we showed before, and distribute them throughout the community along with a flower. And earlier this year, in January, we went knocking around the city and giving people that wanted a flower for no cost. What's our purpose? Our purpose is to demonstrate how nature itself can be a huge benefit for health. We taught the community how to prevent diseases without seeking towards medicine, and especially in Bolivia, that the lower class is like the majority of the people. This is a low cost alternative to fight all of these diseases, because unfortunately people in Bolivia can't see towards like even a yellow fever vaccine, which is just like $2, like maximum 5, and this plant can cost up to like maximum $1.
So what we're basically trying to say is that what this flower does, it prevents the mosquito reproduction. And what it does is that if mosquitoes don't reproduce that much, and then mosquito-transmitted diseases will not be prevalent in that area. So when a person acquires a mosquito-transmitted disease, that person has to seek help. And that person needs to go to the doctor, and that person needs to go to the clinic, depending on what they're suffering from. So Bolivia is a really poor country in which the majority of the people live in poverty. So whenever they get these diseases, they're not able to get help. So what we're trying to do is, this flower is cost-free, and since it will diminish the reproduction of mosquitoes, then the person does not have to pay or seek other help, since the mosquitoes will not affect them.
Most of the people aren't aware of the benefits that these flowers can bring, so we're trying to raise awareness about it.
I'd like all of you that raise your hands at the beginning of the presentation for the symptoms of mosquito-transmitted disease to raise your hands again, like headaches. Yeah, imagine having that pain for more than 2 weeks and not being able to go to a doctor because your economic status doesn't let you. Like, it's pretty painful. So this is a great alternative, again, because it's very cheap.
So Santa Cruz has a very hot and humid climate, and it rains like very often. So mosquitoes are really like a problem there. So we plan to diminish the population, and many of our classmates, we are a small group of 30 students, and about 12 of them have gotten these diseases.
My brother, he got dengue. Most of my family, we have, and it's pretty painful. My brother, it's almost a month or more that you can't move the joint. All your joints hurt. You can't do anything. You move from bed. You have fever. It's really, really bad.
So 38% of the people infected from these diseases can't afford appropriate medical care because of the low resources available in Bolivia. And this method of prevention is really accessible because we are the ones that are like spreading the plants, and the seeds are really cheap, and they're really nice plants, and they can also like make your garden.
By integrating these new plants into the community, we hope that they will have like a chain effect, and that people will also help us spread awareness about the plants. By giving these seeds, we hope that other people will give them off, and it will go out like a pyramid, and eventually the whole community will be able to spread awareness about the benefits of the seeds. It's a very underrated flower, but we have high hopes that eventually the entire community will be aware of all the benefits that can come from the flower.
Okay, so it may seem like we want to eliminate all of the mosquitoes in the world, but that's not what we want to do. I couldn't get the study, but scientists have found out that they can select mosquitoes. Like, mosquitoes are required for the environment to work accordingly to its natural norms, but this specific type of mosquito, the Aedes aegypti, is not necessary. So we can eliminate that one according to the scientists. But I want to show you this video so you can see what would happen if we killed all of the mosquitoes.
mosquitoes suck. And not just literally, their bites are also itchy and annoying, and certain species transmit parasites and viruses like the ones that cause malaria, yellow fever, and Zika, infecting and killing hundreds of thousands of people each year. When we told you about the Zika virus a couple weeks ago, a lot of you had the same question. Why don't we just kill them all of them. Kill all the mosquitoes. Humans are historically really good at making things go extinct. So it shouldn't be too hard to get rid of these bloodsuckers, right? Yeah, not exactly. First of all, there are over 3,000 mosquito species worldwide, and only a couple hundred of them bite humans. Mosquitoes have been around for a lot longer than people, millions of years, and have survived lots of predators and environmental changes. So that would be a lot of tough insects to kill, and a lot of bug deaths that wouldn't affect humans at all. And we've tried to eradicate mosquitoes before, mostly using chemicals that turned out to be awful for both the planet and us, like DDT. But let's pretend that we were actually able to kill all the mosquitoes in some not environmentally apocalyptic way. Say if I wished on a star and the next day all mosquitoes just poofed out of existence. Would that be so bad for the Earth? Some scientists actually say no, that if mosquitoes were suddenly ripped out of food webs, most ecosystems would heal pretty quickly and other organisms would fill in those gaps. But other scientists argue that certain mosquito species do play important ecological roles. Take the mosquitoes that live in the Arctic of Canada and Russia. They fly around in gigantic, thick swarms and make up a huge part of the biomass there, and these mosquitoes pollinate Arctic plants and are a major food source for migrating birds. Removing these guys or other more southern species that are food for fish, birds, and other insects could send a ripple through ecosystems, endangering many other plants and animals. So we probably shouldn't kill all the mosquitoes, but we also don't have to. We know which species are vectors or carriers of the worst viruses and parasites that can infect humans. So lots of researchers are currently targeting these species and developing ways to kill them or kill the dangerous stuff inside them. Take the genus Aedes, which transmits lots of awful diseases. One particularly nasty species is Aedes aegypti, which is the primary vector for the yellow fever, dengue, chikungunya, and Zika viruses. Aedes aegypti is not just a pest, it's one of the most medically significant pests, so it's the focus of a lot of recent experiments in targeted mosquito eradication. But some of the most promising research doesn't set out to kill mosquitoes outright. Instead, it genetically modifies them. In 2015, a British company called Oxitec created male Aedes aegypti mosquitoes with a self-limiting gene, which basically means that the gene can stop their cells from functioning normally. When these genetically modified mosquitoes are released and mate with females in the wild, the self-limiting gene gets passed on to their offspring. Those offspring usually can't develop properly and die before they become adults. No adult mosquitoes means no disease transmission. Likewise, a team of scientists in California inserted modified genes into a species of Anopheles mosquitoes, which are vectors for the parasite that causes malaria. The modified genes cause the mosquitoes to kill the malaria-causing parasites that live inside them before they can transmit them to humans. And as a bonus, these parasite-destroying genes are designed to be passed on to 99.5% of the mosquito's offspring. So eventually, this entire species could be unable to transmit malaria, and scientists think that same technology could be applied to other mosquito species and other parasites and viruses like Zika. Lastly, some scientists are fighting fire with fire, or fighting viruses with bacteria, but
Yeah. So the next few slides, so the next minutes of the video are about malaria, so it's not in our project. So we have a Kahoot for you guys.
During our project, we interviewed a couple of people who were infected with dengue, Zika, and chikungunya. And Marisol Antelo, he was a dengue survivor, and he said, if you would have told me back then that flour could have fixed this, I would have thought you were kidding me. This kind of shows like the gravity of how much people suffer when they get the disease. Bro's own brother, like I knew him, and like it really shows like how much he suffered during the month.
It's pretty bad. And well, not my brother, my grandma, my dad, even I had gotten some of these diseases. I got chikungunya and dengue. Zika not yet, but I hope not. With the flower now, it's gonna get better.
Bro himself is a chikungunya survivor, and he said I cried every day because I thought it would never stop. Also, Rosa Jimenez is a Zika survivor, and she said I got sick when I was pregnant with my first child, and I thought I would never see his face, so I will take 1,000,000 flowers. She's talking about like the flowers that we're proposing, because there's high hopes that they might someday really diminish the Egyptite
A big problem
population.
with Zika is if you get Zika when you're pregnant, the baby gets a deformation in the head and it's born with a.
So her
Hydrocephalus.
baby got a deformation.
Sorry?
Her baby got a deformation.
It's like the head, I don't know the name of
Shrinks
it.
the head.
Hydrocephalus.
No,
Shrinks the head.
Rosa's baby.
Oh, the baby was born, okay. Not this, but most of the, it's a big,
Some cases there's.
So it's a chance of getting it.
Yes.
It's not a.
Yeah, it's
that's
not
why
100%
and
certain.
you don't know, it's not like you know if it's gonna happen or not. It's a chance.
That's it.
Okay, so guys, we have a group ready for you. And I don't know if you would like to get into groups. Well, there's not
good
much time, but anyway.
Ya lo que se pueda, pues.